Hello everyone, welcome to Study IQ. In this lesson, we will discuss about last 1 year environment current affairs, and this is part 2 of environment current affairs series. This will be immensely helpful for UPSC aspirants. I am Bhumika Saini. I have done my engineering from NIT Jaipur. I have appeared for UPSC interview 4 times. So the whole section of environment current affairs has been bifurcated into various sections. In the first lesson, we have discussed about issues related to pollution. In this lesson, we will be discussing all the current affairs related to species that were in news in last 1 year and any efforts related to their conservation. Then in the upcoming sections, we will be discussing about climate change, organizations and conventions, issues related to important days and reports, and any other part will be separately discussed in miscellaneous section. So let's start with the threatened species and their conservation. Now, IUCN, that's an organization, International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. This organization classifies various species into these sections. So first section is extinct species. Then this is further classified into totally extinct and extinct in wild. Then there is another section that is threatened species. This is classified into critically endangered species and vulnerable species. Then there are other species that is non-threatened species. These are further classified into conservation dependent and low risk species. These species can further be classified into near threatened, species of less concern, and abundant species. Then there are some species that about which there is not sufficient data available, and some species may not be evaluated at all. So these are the various categories under which the threatened species are kept. We are mainly concerned with these species. Okay, so let's study them. Now, what does this extinct species mean? Extinct species means that species where there is no reasonable doubt that the last individual has died. Critically endangered species means any species that is facing an extremely high risk of extinction in wild in the immediate future. For example, gharial in India, that is critically endangered. Then endangered species that is not under critically endangered category, but it is still facing a very high risk of extinction in the wild in the near future. Remember, here it is immediate future, here it is near future. Then vulnerable category, these species that are not in the critically endangered, but still they face a high risk of extinction in wild in the medium term future. And then low risk category, those species that may not have been evaluated, or those species that do not satisfy any of the categories of critically endangered, endangered or vulnerable species. Now, apart from that, there are two terms, that is endemic species and rare species. Endemic species means that those species that are restricted to particular region or an ecosystem. Now, that may be due to various environmental factors, or there may be barriers of disposal. For example, lion-tailed macaque, that is an endemic species of India. That is mainly found in the southern India. Apart from that, rare species. Now, some species are naturally rare due to presence in small numbers. So, due to the fact that they are small in number, these species are known as rare species. So, let's start with this current affairs related to threatened species. Now, there were two operations recently coordinated by Wildlife Crime Control Bureau. So, the Operation Thunderbird and Operation Safe Karma. This organization is under Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and Operation Thunderbird, the first operation, the objective is to end poaching of India's wildlife animal. Remember, it is to end poaching of India's wildlife animal. And this Operation Thunderbird it's a code name for Interpol's multinational and multi-species enforcement operation. So you can see it here, Operation Thunderbird, under which 71 people were arrested, 19 kg of elephant ivory was seized, 9 carcasses of wild animals, 8 leopard skins, roughly around 2,500 live species of scheduled animals. These were seized. So this is Operation Thunderbird, coordinated by Wildlife Crime Control Bureau. Now there is another operation, that is Operation Safe Karma. This is a species specific operation, and the species is turtles. So under this operation, a total of 15,000, roughly around 15,000 live turtles were recovered from 45 suspects having interstate linkages. Apart from recovering these animals, this operation was also to ensure or to create awareness among the enforcement agencies to focus on existing trade routes and major trade hubs in the country. So remember, Operation Safe Karma was for mainly for turtles, and Operation Thunderbird was for ending the poaching of wild animals. Now, what is this Wildlife Crime Control Bureau? I have told you that this is an organization under Ministry of Environment. Remember, it is a statutory body and it was under the act, that is Wildlife Protection Act 1972. This is the main act to protect the wildlife in the country. This organization is a multidisciplinary body and the objective is to combat organized wildlife crime in the country. That is why it has launched 2 operations. So remember these 2 operations and Wildlife Crime Control Bureau. That is important for prelims. Now coming on to other topic that is related to river dolphins. There were 2 news related to river dolphin. One was related to Gangetic river dolphin. The other was related to Irrawaddy river dolphin. So first we will discuss issue related to Gangetic river dolphin. Now recently Guwahati in Assam, it has become the first city in the country to declare Gangetic river dolphin as the city animal. This dolphin is also locally known as Sihu in Guwahati, and it is on the verge of extinction. Apart from declaring it as a city animal, it was earlier also declared as National Aquatic Animal of India. And this animal is also called as tigers of Ganga. Why? Because it enjoys somewhat similar position as that of tiger in the forest. Now coming on to the habitat of these Gangetic river dolphin, these are found in India. It is found in Bangladesh, Nepal and Pakistan as well. So remember, these are these species are found in South Asian countries of India, Bangladesh, Nepal and Pakistan. Now they live mainly in the freshwater ecosystem. So these are also indicator species. Indicator species means if these species are getting extinct, then they indicate the health of the ecosystem. So if the freshwater ecosystem is getting polluted, due to many factors it may happen. So if these freshwater ecosystem is getting polluted, then these rivers will get extinct. So these prefer deep waters in and around the confluence of 2 or more rivers. Rivers are actually freshwater ecosystem. They share their habitat with other freshwater animals like freshwater turtles, crocodiles and wetland birds. These are Gangetic river dolphin. These are blind and that's why they use ultrasonic sound to catch their prey. It is listed as endangered as per the IUCN list, right? And it is also placed in Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act. Now remember, in Wildlife Protection Act there are various schedules. Under Schedule 1, those animals that are kept in Schedule 1, that they enjoy the maximum protection. Okay, so Gangetic dolphin is listed in Schedule 1. Now what are the threats that these Gangetic river dolphins face? One is they get entangled in fishing nets. Then they are hunted for their oil and meat. Apart from this, poisoning of rivers, it may be due to industrial or agricultural chemicals. But remember, I had told you that they are indicator species. They indicate the health of freshwater ecosystem. So if there is any poisoning of rivers, then definitely it will affect Gangetic river dolphin. And apart from that, building of dams along the upper course of their habitable river, it also affect the ecological flow of the river, and that's why it will affect the Gangetic river dolphin. Now what have been the conservation efforts with respect to Gangetic dolphin? One is they are listed in Appendix 1 of Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species. That is a convention CITES. India is a member of it. So remember, it is mentioned under Appendix 1 of CITES. There is another convention, that is Convention on Conservation of Migratory Species of Wild Animal. So this species is listed in Appendix 1 as well as in Appendix 2 of Convention on Conservation of Migratory Species of Wild Animals. So these are the 2 international conventions, and as far as India's efforts are concerned, it is placed in Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act. So this is the news related to Gangetic dolphin. Now as I told you, there was another news related to dolphin, that was related to Irrawaddy dolphin. So there was a recently in 2017 census report by Odisha State Forest Department. Roughly around 55 Irrawaddy dolphin were present in the water bodies of Bhitarkanika National Park and Gahir Matta Marine Sanctuary. Both of these are in Odisha, and these Irrawaddy dolphins are found in these areas. Now in recent years, Chilika Lake, this lake has also emerged as a primary habitat of these dolphins. Besides Irrawaddy dolphin, other dolphins that were reported are humpback, bottlenose, pantropical spotted dolphin species. So these are various species of dolphin that are found in this region. So remember, Irrawaddy dolphin is also found in India. Don't get confused that this is only found in Myanmar region, because there is a river Irrawaddy in Myanmar, but it is also found in India, and especially in Odisha region. right? So they can be, these Irrawaddy dolphins can be found from northwest Bay of Bengal in India to south of Indonesia. Major threats, again, incidental mortality in gill nets and other fisheries gear. So mainly they get entangled in the fishing nets. Then apart from that, mining, that is especially sand mining and gravel mining, and live captures for display purpose. These can also be the reasons for extinction of these dolphins. Now the IUCN status is vulnerable. So these are vulnerable species, and the Gangetic dolphin was endangered. Okay. So these are Irrawaddy dolphin. See the fundamental difference. This is Irrawaddy and this is Gangetic river dolphin. Okay. Now another news related to Kuji Medha, that is Kendrapara sheep. Now National Bureau of Animal Genetic Resources, it has conferred a rare and singular species genetic recognition tag. So this is it has conferred a genetically rare status. Now this status will boost conservation effort to protect these domesticated threatened species. Now these species are found in Odisha. So remember, these are found only in the coastal Jagatsinghpur and Kendrapara districts of Odisha. So after this district, the name of this sheep. Now specific characteristics of these sheep are: first, it is known as Kuji Medha locally, and these are fast breeders giving multiple births. So remember, this is very important. They are fast breeders giving multiple births, and sheep in other parts of Orissa are not known for giving multiple births. So this is important. They are known for giving multiple birth, and this characteristics makes them distinctive from other species. That's why the rare genetic traits lead to multiple birth syndrome. So that's why these are conferred as genetically rare status. Now these are primarily used for production of mutton. They are well adapted to high ambient temperature, high humidity and heavy rain. So this is Odisha region, that's a coastal area. It will have high temperature, high humidity and high heavy rains, and these sheep are well adapted to such a climatic condition. So these are the sheep. Now moving on to another news, that is Bornean orangutan. Although this is not found in India, but recently they have been declared as critically endangered by IUCN. So that is important from this aspect. Remember, it is not found in India. It is primate species native to island of Borneo. So that's why the name Bornean orangutan. And these share approximately 97% of their DNA with humans. They are highly intelligent and display advanced tool use, distinct culture patterns in the wild. Now apart from that, the main reasons for decline in their population are deforestation, hunting and slow breeding. So remember, it is not found in India, and recently it has been conferred critically endangered status by IUCN. So these are the Bornean orangutans. Now let's discuss all the news related to tigers that were there in the last 1 year. So first news was Wildlife Institute of India. It will house India's first repository on tigers under its new tiger cell. So a dedicated tiger cell has been formed, and that has been made by Wildlife Institute of India. Now this repository will consist of huge database on tiger conservation and population estimation, right? And this will be with the effort by National Tiger Conservation Authority. Now this tiger cell will assist in population assessment of tigers. It will ensure law enforcement, wildlife forensics, infrastructure development and mitigation, smart patrolling and advisory role in policy formulation. So now we have a dedicated cell to cater to the conservation of tigers. And India's first tiger cell, it was set up at Wildlife Institute of India campus in Dehradun, Uttarakhand. Okay. So various efforts have been taken both globally as well as in India for saving tiger. So number of wild tigers has gone up globally by 22%. So it has increased significantly if we compare it with 2010 estimate. And this is as per World Wildlife Fund and Global Tiger Forum. Okay, so these have been there have been various efforts. Now this is not that relevant from prelims perspective, but you should remember that the tigers population of wild tigers has increased significantly, and as per the latest official count in India, India is home to roughly around 2,226 tigers, and it represents 70% of global population of endangered big cat species. So remember, India has the largest population of tigers in the world. Okay, now there was an initiative that is WWF initiative. This is Tiger Range governments agreed to act to double wild tigers by 2022. So this is 2 into 20, 2 into 2, that is doubling the tiger population by 2022. So this goal is known as doubling the population of tiger by 2022, T into 2. So doubling the tiger population. Okay. Now various efforts have been made by Indian government. We have a Project Tiger that was launched in 1973, right? And as per this, we have a National Tiger Conservation Authority. We have dedicated various this national parks, wildlife sanctuary as tiger reserves, and in these tiger reserves there is a core area, there is a buffer area. So tourism is properly regulated in these areas, and these are the various tiger reserves like Jim Corbett, then Dudhwa, Valmiki, Panna Tiger Reserve, Sariska in Rajasthan. Then there are various tiger reserves in MP, Panna Tiger Reserve. Then there are various tiger reserves in Chhattisgarh region, in Odisha region. Maximum tigers are found with respect to the population. They are found in Karnataka. There are various tiger reserves in the southern India, that is in the Western Ghats region, in Bandipur Tiger Reserve, Muddumalai in Tamil Nadu, Annamalai, then Periyar. These are all the tiger reserves. Ranthambore Tiger Reserve. So these are all the, and apart from this, in northeast also various tiger reserves are found in Assam, in Arunachal, etc. Now there was this was also in news, that is Transboundary Manas Conservation Area. So there was a second monitoring of big cats around across the Transboundary Manas Conservation Area. So this is a Transboundary Conservation Area. It covers Manas National Park in Indian side and Royal Manas National Park in Bhutan. So you can see it here. There's a river Manas. That is, Manas is also a transboundary river. So this is a transboundary conservation area. So it has this one Royal Manas National Park in Bhutan and Manas National Park in Indian side. So Transboundary Manas Conservation Area, it covers these two national parks, and it is a joint initiative of India and Bhutan for transboundary biodiversity conservation. So it's a very good example of transboundary conservation, and this Manas is a transboundary river. This flows through these two national parks. Then there was Ken Betwa link under this is the first link under interlinking of river project. This is the first link that is envisaged out of the 30 links that have been proposed. Now the issue with respect to tiger is that this Panna National Park, it comes near this Ken River, right? So Ken River flows across this Panna National Park, and excess water from Ken River will be supplied to Betwa River. So it is said that some part of Panna National Park will be submerged. So it may impact the tiger population. So that's why this was in news that this Ken Betwa link will submerge nearly 400 out of 4,300 hectares of Panna Tiger Reserve. Experts have suggested that this could be drastic for the tiger population, as they will have to adjust to changes. So that's why it was in news. Now therefore a wildlife experts committee was set up, and this has proposed that the tiger in the core area there should be proper regulation, and like tiger population should not be affected by this. Measure should be taken so that tiger population should not be affected by Ken Betwa link. So this is about Panna Tiger Reserve. Remember, it is in Madhya Pradesh, and it is most notable for its tiger conservation program, especially because it has increased the tiger population from 25 in 2006 to 0 in 2009. Sorry, it has reduced, not increased. It has reduced the tiger population from 25 in this to 0. But after that, a number of conservation efforts were made, like translocation of tigers from other reserves from other reserves in Madhya Pradesh or nearby area to the Panna Tiger Reserve. That resulted in increase of tiger population to 18 at present. And this Panna Tiger Reserve is designated as a biosphere reserve in 2011. Now, as we have already discussed that there has been increase globally, this population of tiger has increased by 22%, and India has a total of 2,226 population of tiger, right? So this is the population of tiger, and I have told you 70% of population, global population of tiger is in India. So India is the largest country with respect to the tiger population. Then remember, these are all tiger range countries. Now what does tiger range country? Tiger range country means that those countries which have significant tiger population. So apart from India, Russia, remember these countries: Indonesia, Malaysia, Nepal, Thailand, Bangladesh, Bhutan, China, Vietnam, and Laos. So these are all tiger range countries. So Global Tiger Forum, that is a forum for where these countries meet, and efforts related to conservation of tiger are deliberated. So in this Global Tiger Forum, all the tiger range countries, all these countries, they participate. So for prelims perspective, you should know all these countries where tigers are found, and India has the maximum population. Now another news related to species is this hangul, that is Kashmiri red stag. This is a subspecies of elk native to India. So you can see it, this is hangul, right? So it's a deer. So this is a subspecies of red deer, and a number of mitochondrial DNA genetic studies have revealed that hangul is a part of Asian clade of elk. So you need to remember with respect to prelims, one thing you need to remember is it is found in the riverine forest in Kashmir Valley as well as in Himachal Pradesh. Remember, these are the areas where hangul is found. It is not found anywhere else. As per Bombay Natural History Society, nearly 3,000 to 5,000 hanguls existed around 1940s, but their population has significantly reduced now. So since that, then habitat destruction, overgrazing by domestic livestock, and poaching, that has reduced the population dramatically. So these are hangul, that is deer. Remember, deer will have antlers. These are antlers that deers have, and antelopes will have horn, right? So deer will have antlers. They shed their antlers regularly, right? And antelopes have horn. So see, now the figure is around 150 of them. They survive in Dachingham National Park in Jammu Kashmir and in some parts of Himachal Pradesh as well. They are given highest protection status under Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act and under Jammu Kashmir Wildlife Protection Act 1978. It also has been listed among top 15 species of high conservation priority by central government because their number has declined rapidly, and these are IUCN is going to declare Kashmiri red stag as critically endangered species, because just imagine, from 3,000 to 5,000 they are now only 150 in number. This critically endangered status to Kashmiri red stag will help it get more protection and enhance the conservation effort. So remember, it's a deer. It is found in Himachal Pradesh and in Jammu Kashmir, especially in Dachingham National Park. The species number is dramatically reduced now. Okay, so these are hangul or red deer. Now, in order to protect these hangul, there is a project hangul, that is Kashmiri stag, also called hangul. I have already told you there are subspecies of red deer. It is the state animal of Jammu Kashmir. Remember, it's a state animal of Jammu Kashmir. This I have already told you, found in Dachingham National Park. Then there is a project hangul mainly for increasing the population and focusing on their conservation. Okay. Another news related to species was olive ridley sea turtle. Now these turtles, these are one of the smallest and most abundant of all the sea turtles found in world, and their main habitat is warm waters of Pacific, Atlantic and Indian Ocean, right? So you can see it. These are the olive ridley turtles. They come annually to hatch their eggs, especially in the Odisha coast. They are found in abundance. Their numbers have been declining over the past few years, but that's why the species is recognized as vulnerable. They are not in the endangered or critically endangered because they are found in abundance, but because their numbers are declining, that's why they are categorized in vulnerable list. So in India, it is protected under Wildlife Protection Act. These are carnivorous. Remember, these are carnivorous, and they feed on jellyfish, shrimp, snails, crabs, mollusks, and a variety of fish and their eggs. So these are carnivorous. Remember this. Now, some characteristics related to these turtles: they spend their entire lives in the ocean and migrate thousands of kilometers between feeding and mating grounds in the course of a year. That's what I have told you. They come annually to Gahir Mata beach and this coastal area of Odisha for laying eggs. So a female lay up to 150 to 100 eggs in a pit dug on the beaches, and destination for majority of turtles for laying their eggs is Gahir Mata in Odisha. Apart from this, sandy stretches of Hope Island of Koringa Wildlife Sanctuary. Remember, this is in Andhra Pradesh. These now recently have also been turned into a breeding area for these turtles. Again, these are also under Appendix 1 of CITES Convention, right? CITES convention we have already discussed. The main threats that these turtles face are unfriendly fishing practices, exploitation of nesting beaches for ports, and tourist centers. So remember, these are the main threats that these olive ridley turtles face. Then another news related to elephants. For the first time, states of Odisha, West Bengal, Chhattisgarh, and Jharkhand, they have conducted a elephant census. So remember where all elephant is found in India. These are the main states where elephant is found. Apart from this, in northeast also elephant is found. Then in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, in all these states elephants are found. So this is the distribution of wild elephants in North India, in the South India region, then in this eastern area, and in the northeastern area. Because the elephant census has been recently conducted, so you should remember all the areas, especially the states where elephant is found. Another news was related to Asian waterbird census. Now this year, that is the last year, 2016, marks the 50th global international waterbird census, and it has become the world's longest running biodiversity monitoring program. This is first countrywide citizen science activity on natural history. So the main this Asian waterbird census, it happens every year January across Asia and Australia, and there are other regional programs that run parallel to it, that is international waterbird census in Africa, Europe, etc. So one is this international waterbird census in Asia, then it is conducted in Africa, and it is also conducted in Europe. This is coordinated by Bombay Natural History Society along with Wetlands International. So this is important from prelims perspective, that these two organizations are mainly involved in this waterbird census. It began in 1987 and thereafter it is conducted. And this one is the 50th Global International Waterbird Census. Waterbirds, these are defined as species of bird that are ecologically dependent on wetlands. So remember, these waterbirds, they live in the wetlands. These birds are important health indicator of wetlands. So again, these are indicator species. If there is an encroachment of wetland or shrinking of wetlands, then these waterbirds will gradually become extinct. Now Wetland International, it's a non-profit organization that was established in 1937 as International Wildfowl Inquiry, and its headquarters is in Netherlands. So this is something related to Wetlands International. So these are all waterbirds. Now this objective of waterbird census was that is this is conducted on annual basis every year in January, that we've already discussed, and this is mainly for monitoring population and evaluating the sites, especially the wetlands. So it also indicates the condition of wetlands. So annual monitoring of the status and condition of wetlands is also reflected through this waterbird census, and this waterbird census, it encourages greater interest in waterbirds and wetlands among people, and it also promotes their conservation. Now there was another species, that is Sangai brow antlered deer. See, this is Sangai deer that is mainly found in Manipur, in lake, that is Loktak Lake in Manipur. Okay, so this is an endemic. I've already told you what are endemic species and rare species. So it's an endemic and rare species of brow antlered deer. This is found only in Manipur. So it is native or endemic species of Manipur. It is the state animal of Manipur. Okay, it is restricted to wetland of Cable Lamjo National Park over the floating biomass in Loktak Lake. So you can see it here. These are the floating fumdis over which this Sangai deer it lives. Okay, so this is Sangai deer. This is the Loktak Lake. This is actually a part of Cable Lamjo National Park. So while walking on the floating biomass, that is the fumdis, these floating biomass is known as fumdi. So while walking on this floating biomass, these Sangai deer, they often balance itself, and that's why they appear as if they are dancing on the green grassland. That is why this is also known as dancing deer. So it's a state animal of Manipur. It is also known as dancing deer, and it is a subspecies of brow antlered deer. This is only found in Manipur. Remember, it is also classified as endangered, not critically endangered. It is classified as endangered by IUCN. Okay, this is the deer. About Loktak Lake we have already discussed. This is freshwater lake, largest freshwater lake in Manipur, and it has famous fumdis. Fumdis is floating biomass. You can see it here. These are the floating biomass. Okay, so that is locally known as Phumdis. This is the only floating national park in the world, and it is located near Moirang in Manipur. This is last natural refuge of endangered Sangai deer or dancing deer, right? And human activity has led to severe pressure on the lake ecosystem. So now if the lake is shrinking, if there is any pollution in the lake, if there is any destruction to the freshwater ecosystem, then definitely this species, that is the Sangai deer, will also be affected. MOEF, that is Ministry of Environment, recently constituted a 4-member team for conservation and management of Loktak Lake. So this is mainly for conserving the Loktak Lake, and once after conserving this Loktak Lake, the species can also be conserved. Now another news related to Himalayan brown bear that was spotted in Kargil. So recently a group of 8 Himalayan brown bears were spotted in Ladakh's Dras sector. No Himalayan bear had been spotted in the region for many years. So this was a news because recently this Himalayan brown bear was spotted in the Ladakh region. This is the largest mammal in the Himalayan region, and it is critically endangered under IUCN. So sometimes in prelims UPSC asks that which of the following is a critically endangered species. So remember, critically endangered, this Himalayan brown bear is critically endangered. Ghadial is critically endangered. Okay. Now what are the wildlife that is found in the Ladakh region? Tibetan antelope that is found. This is also locally known as Chiru. Chiru. This is locally known as Chiru also in Tibet region. Tibetan antelope, snow leopard, these are endangered species. Then Himalayan blue sheep, Tibetan wild ass, ibex, these are all prominent in the Ladakh region. And in the Ladakh region there are 4 major wildlife regions, that is Suru is a river, Zaskar is also a river, Dras and Kargil. These are the main wildlife regions in Ladakh region. Then Great Indian Bustard, this was also in news. Why? Because Rajasthan government has recently formulated a long-term plan to save this bird from extinction. Now let's discuss something about Great Indian Bustard. So these are found exclusively in the northwestern plains of India, that is Rajasthan and Pakistan. So it is found in Rajasthan and Pakistan. It is one of the heaviest flying birds. It is critically endangered. Remember all the species that are critically endangered. It is state bird of Rajasthan, and the main reasons for depletion of or extinction of these species is, one is depletion of habitat, that is grasslands. They live mainly in the grasslands, and there is encroachment of grassland. So due to development of infrastructure or agriculture activities, the grasslands are getting shrinked. So these are the Great Indian Bustard. You can see the grasslands in the background. Okay. Then Eurasian otter, this was also in news. They were discovered from Satpura Tiger Reserve, Madhya Pradesh, and Kana Pinch corridor. It was believed to be restricted to Himalayas earlier and in some parts of Western Ghats, but now they have been found recently in the Satpura Tiger Reserve, that is in the Satpura range. It is one of the rarest Indian mammal. But remember, it is not only found in India, but it has wide distribution in Europe, in Africa, and in Asia. But it is rare in India, so it is classified as near threatened under IUCN. These are the Eurasian otter. Now, Gyps vulture reintroduction program. This is very important. This reintroduction program, it was launched last year by government of Haryana. Now, mainly by putting 10 captive bred vultures in aviaries close to Jatayu Conservation Breeding Center in Haryana. So there is a Jatayu Conservation Breeding Center in Haryana, and a reintroduction program of Gyps vulture was conducted last year. It is Asia's first Gyps vulture reintroduction program. And recently 2 Himalayan griffons were released in the wild as a part of this program. So this is an ex situ means of conservation. Remember, there are 2 means of conservation. One is in situ, that is at the same place, and other is ex situ, that is in other region. For example, if we keep any animal in zoo, that is an ex situ conservation. So ex situ means of conservation, whereby some vultures are kept at breeding center for some time and then released in the wild. This is mainly for increasing their population. Mainly 4 kinds of vulture are found in India. One is Gyps species, that includes Indian vulture, long-billed vulture, slender-billed vulture. These are all critically endangered. So these 3 are critically endangered. Then Himalayan griffon is also found. This is closely related to Indian Gyps, but it is not endangered. It is near threatened. Then there is a red-headed vulture that is critically endangered. Then Egyptian vulture that is endangered as per IUCN. So you should first of all remember what all vulture species are found in India, and remember, if there's a statement in prelims that all the vultures in India are critically endangered, that is not true, because some vultures are near threatened, some vultures are critically endangered. So you should remember which are critically endangered and which are near threatened. Right now, why is the population of vulture declining? Why they are on the verge of extinction, or why they are under critically endangered category? Mainly due to use of diclofenac. So diclofenac, that's a drug that was given to cattle for inflammation and pain. This drug results in the kidney failure. Why? In vulture, because these vulture, they feed on the carcass of cattle, and cattle, they are consuming diclofenac drug, so that's why they were affecting the vulture. So the government had banned diclofenac since 2006, but again it was illegally used. That's why it was leading to declining of vulture population. Now there has been an alternative that has been made, and people are being made aware of the use of alternate drug, that is meloxicam. Remember, this drug will not affect vulture population, so awareness is being generated about this drug. So these are the vultures, and this was they were actually, the kidney failure was taking place in vultures due to consumption of carcass of cattle. Okay, now there is another news related to smooth coated otter. This was first time sighted in mangrove forest adjacent to Krishna Wildlife Sanctuary in Krishna district of Andhra Pradesh. This is a key indicator for rise of mangrove cover. So remember, these are mainly found in mangrove. If these species are found, then that reflects healthy ecosystem. So it is distributed throughout South Asia and Southeast Asia, and it is listed in IUCN Red List as vulnerable. So this is the smooth coated otter. Okay, now this population, they have been reported from Corbett and Dudhba tiger reserves, then Kaziranga National Park in northeast, then in these areas their population have been reported. So another news related to giant panda. Earlier it was endangered. Now it has come out from endangered list, and it is now classified as vulnerable. This is not very relevant from Indian perspective, because giant panda is not found in India. Remember, in India giant panda is not found. In India red panda is found. These are red panda. This is found mainly in northeastern region of Sikkim, Meghalaya and Arunachal Pradesh. It is not found in other areas. Mainly it is found in the Himalayan region, and that too in northeastern states. So this news was mainly to tell you that giant panda has come out of endangered list, but this is not found in India, and red panda is found in India. Now there was another news related to dugong. Dugong, these are vulnerable marine animals, and there have been various questions asked on dugong in prelims in past few years. So dugong is the only marine mammal to feed exclusively on plants. Right, it is also known as sea cow because it exclusively feeds on plant, and these are large animals having short paddle-like front flippers and a tail. So you can see these are dugong, right? You can see the flippers, right? And these are very large. So these are found mainly in Andamans, in Gulf of Mannar and in Gulf of Kutch. These are also known as angels of sea. Remember the areas where they are found. They are found in Andaman Nicobar region, in Gulf of Mannar and in Gulf of Kutch. They feed exclusively on plants. That is why these are known as sea cow. Okay. Let's discuss another news related to lugger falcon. That is lugger falcon that was once numerous in number, now has only 2 birds of this species surviving in Madurai. So this was also in news because they are declining rapidly, and the main reasons for their decline is indiscriminate sand quarrying on the Vegai river. Vegai river is in Tamil Nadu, and indiscriminate granite and stone quarrying in many parts of Madurai. So because of the loss of habitat of these birds, that is why they are declining rapidly. Now felling of palm trees in these areas, which is a nesting spot of many raptor species, is also one of the reasons for disappearance of this bird. So remember, sand quarrying, stone quarrying and felling of palm trees, these are the main reasons of destruction of or habitat destruction of lugger falcon, and these are mainly found in the Madurai region, the Tamil Nadu region. Okay, so these are the lugger falcon. Now another news was related to ban on import of exotic animal species. So DGFT, that is Director General of Foreign Trade, it has prohibited the imports of skins of animals like reptiles, minks, foxes, and chinchillas. Now, present situation related to this is that India's import policy allows import of raw hides, skin, leather, fur, skins of reptiles, mink, fox, etc. But they are subjected to regulation under Wildlife Protection Act and the international convention, that is CITES Convention. Apart from this, Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1970, it allows the slaughter of animals only for subsistence. Remember, it is only for subsistence, but this too is regulated to minimize the pain and suffering of animal. So this news was mainly to tell you that there is a convention, that is Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Flora and Fauna, under which there is a ban on import of exotic animal species. Then there are various other acts like Wildlife Protection Act, Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act related to this. Then CITES Convention, this convention is also known as Washington Convention. It came into force in 1975. It's an international agreement between government, mainly to ensure that international trade of wild animals and plants does not threaten their survival. It is a legally binding treaty. Remember, it's a legally binding treaty, and there are 3 appendix in this. One is Appendix 1, that includes species threatened with extinction, and their trade is allowed only in exceptional situation. In second appendix, it includes species that are not necessarily threatened with extinction, but their trade is strictly regulated. So in the first case, trade is allowed only in exceptional situation. In the second case, trade is strictly regulated. In the third appendix, species that are protected in at least one country, that country, if it has asked other CITES party for assistance in controlling the trade. So remember these 3 appendix. Remember that it's a legally binding treaty, and India is a party, or India is a member of this convention. Now, Kaziranga National Park, this was also in news. This has consistently increased its one-horned rhino population. So, first of all, we'll discuss about Kaziranga National Park. This is situated on the bank of river Brahmaputra. It is one of the oldest wildlife reserves of India, and it was declared a wildlife sanctuary, and it was declared or notified as a Kaziranga National Park under Wildlife Protection Act. It is popularly known as home of Big Five. Big Five means one-horned rhinoceros are found here, tigers, then buffaloes, that is Asiatic wild buffaloes, eastern swamp deer, and elephant. So these are the 5 main animals that are found here, and it includes 2/3 of world's great one-horned rhinoceros. So from this aspect, it is very important. It has one of the highest density of tigers as well, and it almost includes entire population of eastern swamp deer. It is also under Natural World Heritage Site by UNESCO. So by UNESCO designates various Natural World Heritage Site. So Kaziranga National Park is one of them. Now, with respect to prelims, what can be asked? See, there are various categories or various types of rhinoceros. You can see it here. There is Sumatran rhino, Indian rhino, white rhino, Javan rhino, black rhino. So you should be aware about all the categories of rhinoceros. So white rhinos, this is the largest rhino species, and it has 2 subspecies, that is southern white rhino, this is near threatened, and northern white rhino, this is critically endangered. So this is the white rhino, this one. Okay, then apart from that, there is a black rhino which has further 4 species. Some of them are critically endangered, some are vulnerable. Then there is Javan rhino. This is again critically endangered, and it is found, this is also one of the rare, and it is found mainly in the Indonesia region. Then there is Sumatran rhino. This is also critically endangered, and it is found mainly in the southeastern part of Asia, mainly including the Indonesia region. Then there is Indian rhino. This is found in India and Nepal. Remember, this is found, apart from India, it is also found in Nepal, and especially in the foothills of Himalayas, but they are vulnerable, they are not critically endangered. So this is Indian rhino, Sumatran, white rhino, Javan rhino, and black rhino. Okay, now moving on to tree species. We have discussed mainly about the animal species. Let's discuss something about tree species. So Simai Keruvalam tree, this was in news because Madras High Court directed the Tamil Nadu government to enact a law to eradicate these species. Now, why we are eradicating these species? First of all, because these trees suck a lot of water, so they are water intensive. Then they have invaded the water bodies and dry lands of government and private people, and they are actually sucking a lot of water. Such trees ultimately affect the agriculture activities because a whole lot of water has been consumed. So a number of cases have been filed for their eradication. So that's why this tree was in news. So you can see it here. Mainly people are cutting these trees. These are the trees. The name, remember the name, Simai Keruvalam trees. Now moving on to another news, that is Indian roller bird. The main news was that this Indian roller or Neelkant, that is a state bird of various states like Telangana, Karnataka, Andhra, Odisha, right? And this is under Schedule 4th of Wildlife Protection Act, that is this is protected under Wildlife Protection Act. It is making the species go endangered. That is now the number is rapidly declining. So bird is, although it is protected under Schedule 4, under this Schedule 4, I have told you Schedule 1 is the category, that is the where the maximum protection is granted. Under Schedule 4, capturing and displaying of bird is strictly illegal, attracting a penalty of 25,000 or imprisonment up to 3 years or both. So this is mentioned under Schedule 4. So this kind of protection is given under Schedule 4, but still the species is getting endangered. And remember, this is the Indian roller bird or Neelkant, that is mainly state bird of various southern Indian states. Now the another news was related to fishing cat. The main news was that West Bengal has recently declared it as a state animal. It is listed as vulnerable in IUCN Red List. It is threatened by destruction of wetlands, as it is mainly found in mangrove regions, in wetland, because it's a fishing cat, right? So it is found along rivers, streams, oxbow lakes, in swamps, and in mangroves. It is also found in Sundarbans region. Okay, so the news was that it has been declared as a state animal. Remember the status, it is not critically endangered, and remember the habitat where it is found. Then another news related to plant, that is a medicinal plant that is locally known as Pacha Chedi. Remember, it can be asked because it was in news. They may not give you the scientific name, but they can give you the local name, that is Pacha Chedi. It is used by Chola Naikan tribe to treat inflammation and wounds. It is endemic to Western Ghats and Sri Lanka. So it is found in another country also, that is in Sri Lanka. In India, it is mainly found in Western Ghats, and that too in Kerala. Now, why this was in news? Because this is also termed as a wonder drug, because this particular Pacha Chedi, it has various characteristics or properties. That is, this plant possesses high vitamin E content. It has cytoprotective activity in its cell lines. Therefore it can be used as an anti-cancer drug. So it can be used to treat inflammations, it can be used to treat wounds. It has very high vitamin E content, and it can be used as an anti-cancer drug. So that's why it is very significant. It can be used as an analgesic, as an anti-cancer, as an antioxidant, and wound and burn healer, and for immune system development. That's why it is also termed as a wonder drug. Okay, and this is also related to traditional knowledge of India, because it has been used since long by this tribe, that is this Chola Naikan tribe. So this is the Pacha Chedi, this is the plant, and the Chola Naikan tribe, that is PVTG, that is particularly vulnerable tribal group. This is particularly vulnerable tribal group where the population is gradually declining. They live in the deciduous forests mainly in the Malappuram district. This is mainly in the Kerala region, right? They are only surviving hunter-gatherer tribe in India. So this is also important. They can ask you about the tribe, where it is found. It is found in Kerala region, and they can ask, UPSC can ask you related to Pacha Chedi plant. They are only tribal community in Asia that lives in rock cave shelter. So they are living a very primitive life. Okay. Now another news related to Kerala only, that is Nilambur teak. It is soon to get a GI tag. This is located in Malappuram district of Kerala. It has oldest teak plantation in the world, and it also holds world's first teak museum. So you can see it here. This is a teak museum only. This is the Nilambur teak. Okay. Then there are other products with GI tag. They may ask you questions related to GI tag also. So Pokali rice, then pineapple, wine-eyed rice varieties, Jeera Kasla. These are the various GI tag products in Kerala. Okay, so remember this Nilambur teak. Then there was Indian wild orange. This earlier it was reported that it is mainly found in Meghalaya, but recently it has been found in Manipur also. So this is the wild orange, right? And this is a native Indian species of citrus fruits. It is considered to be the most primitive citrus, like ancestor of all citrus fruit in world. It is an endangered species. It is found in Nokrek Biosphere Reserve. This is in Meghalaya, right? This is in Garo Hills of Meghalaya. Recently, this wild orange has been discovered in Manipur as well. So major threat to the species is habitat destruction due to slash and burn cultivation or zoom cultivation that is mainly practiced in the northeast India. Then there was a news related to Biodiversity Award. So this Biodiversity Awards are given annually. That's a joint initiative of Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, National Biodiversity Authority and UNDP, that is United Nations Development Program. So remember, it's a joint initiative of three main organizations. One is Ministry of Environment, second National Biodiversity Authority and UNDP. Now these awards are mainly to recognize the contribution of a range of stakeholders for their efforts related to conservation of biodiversity and in biodiversity governance. So there are main four categories, that is conservation of threatened species, sustainable use of biological resources, biodiversity management committees, models for access and benefit sharing. So these are the main four categories for this award. Now the main thing related to prelims that can be asked is this Pakke Tiger Reserve in Arunachal Pradesh. This was recently given award. Then the award was given to Hargila Army and Purnima Devi Burman for protection of greater adjutant bird. Then Living Roots Bridge, that is in Meghalaya. There was a question on Living Roots Bridge in UPSC that has already been asked in past few years. So the question can be asked related to this, like they can ask question related to Pakke Tiger Reserve. They can ask questions related to Living Roots Bridge, that is in Meghalaya. So keep a note of all these winners that have got this award. So let's discuss about Pakke Tiger Reserve. Remember, there is a river, that is Kameng River, that flows near this Pakke Tiger Reserve. It is also known as Pakui Wildlife Sanctuary or Pakui Tiger Reserve, right? So it is adjacent to the Nameri National Park of Assam and Eagle Nest Wildlife Sanctuary in Arunachal Pradesh. It is bounded by Pakke River and Kameng River. Kameng River is also known as Bareilly River. Both these rivers are tributaries of Brahmaputra. So you can see it here. This is the Kameng River that is flowing here. This is the Pakke Tiger Reserve, right? You can see it here. This is the Pakke Tiger Reserve. Here we have Nameri National Park and this is the Kameng River that is flowing. This is the Eagle Nest Wildlife Sanctuary. Okay. Now, one of the last news, that is a new species of pika has been discovered. That is a mammal belonging to rabbit and hare family, that is mainly in the Himalayas in the Sikkim region. So you can see it here. These are the pika. These are rare species, and that's why this was in news, because a new species of pika has been discovered. It is quite distinctive from all the other pika species genetically and not in physical observation. So genetically they are quite distinct. They live in mountains or in temperate regions. Remember their habitat. They do not hibernate, unlike other mammalian species. That is, for example, polar bears, they hibernate. They go for hibernate because they live in the temperate, not in the temperate region. They live in the polar regions. So generally, the species that live in the cold areas, they go for hibernation. But these pika species, they do not hibernate, and they are found mainly in the Himalayan region, especially in the Sikkim state. They are keystone species and ecosystem engineers. So that is their importance. They are very important species of their ecosystem. That's why they are termed as keystone species. So this was all related to part 2 series of environment current affairs. If you want me to continue with part 3, part 4 species, then do mention it in the comment section. Thank you.